So you're thinking about investing in real estate and you can't decide between a single family house and a duplex. Well, let's break it down in today's video and make sure you stay through to the end because I'll tell you what I personally think is the best option, at least for me anyway. Today, we'll go over the pros and cons of each based on my experience as a realtor, and by the end, you'll have a clear idea of which may be the best investment for you. Let's start with single family houses. So first, the pros of single family houses. One, there's a wider buyer market. Single family homes are easier to sell since they appeal to a larger pool of buyers. So when you're finally done renting it out and you want to sell that asset and make your money back, hopefully make more than your money back, you have a bigger pool of buyers to sell it to. It's a lot easier to sell a single family house than it is to sell a duplex. Typically duplexes, you can usually only sell those to investors. Maybe an owner-occupied buyer, but usually duplexes are only being sold to investors. It's a lot easier to sell a single family house to like a first-time home buyer or an upsizer or a downsizer. Potentially higher appreciation. Historically, single family homes tend to appreciate a lot more than duplexes over time. So if you're looking for that big return on investment when you go to sell your investment property, single family homes are definitely the way to go. It'll appreciate a lot more than most duplexes over time. You're gonna get a bigger return on investment when you turn around to sell that investment property in 3, 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 years, however long you decide to hold on to it for. You'll definitely get a bigger return on investment when you turn around and sell it. Pro number 3, a lower tenant turnover. Tenants of single family homes tend to stay longer because guess what? They feel more like it's their actual house as opposed to a rental property. Sure, they're still paying rent every month, but they tend to kind of think of it as more of a mortgage payment. They don't necessarily think of it as rent. They just kind of, in their minds, they start to think of it as a mortgage payment. It's not a mortgage payment, obviously. It's your mortgage payment, but they start to think of it as their mortgage payment, and they just start paying it every month, rent on time, and they get a lot more comfortable in a single family house because it doesn't feel like a rental property. It feels like a house, because it is a house. You know, typically a single family house is at least 2 bedrooms, usually 3 bedrooms, and at least 1 bathroom, sometimes 2 bathrooms, sometimes more. So it feels a lot more like a house and they just feel a lot more comfortable. And usually tenants in a single family house, they take a lot better care of it. You won't see most tenants in a single family house tear it up. Now that's not always the case, but that's generally the case. Tenants in a single family house tend to take a lot better care of it. Pro number 4 of a single family house is simpler property management. Managing one tenant in one unit means less complexity, fewer repairs, and fewer headaches. You only have one tenant, maybe one family to take care of, as opposed to 2 or 3 depending on the size of your duplex that you buy, or triplex. So you only have one family to take care of, one family to answer to, one family to collect rent from, one furnace to take care of, one water heater to take care of, one roof to take care of, besides your own of course, one driveway to take care of, one of everything to take care of. In a duplex, you have typically 2 furnaces, 2 water heaters, you only have 1 roof, 1 driveway. We have 2 of everything. You have 2 front doors, you have 2 back doors, 2 sets of front stairs. There's just a lot more for you to take care of. When something goes wrong, sometimes you may have double the cost of repairs as opposed to a single family house. So what are some of the cons of owning a single family house as an investment property? So what are some of the cons of owning a single family house as an investment property? Well, all of your eggs are in one basket. If your tenant leaves, you are on the hook for the entire mortgage until you fill that vacancy. So if your tenant leaves, obviously you don't have a second tenant to help pay the whole mortgage or at least part of the mortgage if you do in a duplex. That one tenant that you have in that one single family house is paying either all of the mortgage or at least a big chunk of the mortgage. If that tenant leaves, you're on the hook for the whole mortgage now. You don't have anybody else helping you pay for the mortgage anymore until you fill that vacancy. Which right now in Kenosha area anyway, there are so many tenants, filling a vacancy is really easy. But in the future, I don't know what the future brings. Who knows what will happen with the rental property. And number 2 of a single family income property, lower cash flow potential. So with only one dwelling to rent out, you potentially have lower cash flow, lower rentals. With a duplex or even a triplex, if you have a 3-unit building, you have 2 to 3 tenants to collect rent for. So let's say you have a duplex and you're charging, let's say $1,000 each rent each month. You're collecting $2,000 a month. But with a house, you can only charge one renter 1 month's rent. Now, typically with houses, you can charge a little bit more in rent because they have access to the whole house and the garage. If it has a garage, a house usually has more space. Obviously, it has more square footage. It usually has like a basement, maybe an upstairs. It has a yard. Obviously, that's all their own. It feels more like a house, like I said earlier in the video. So usually you can charge a little more in rent, but you still can't charge an exorbitant amount of rent for a house because renters will just pass on it. They'll just wait for something that's better. But you can usually charge a little bit more in rent. So you may not make as much money in rental with a single family house. But I have seen some single family rentals here in the Kenosha area that are renting for as much as $2,500 to $3,500 a month in rent, depending on the size of the house and how nice it is on the inside. So this can and cannot be true. It depends on the rental, it depends on the size of the house, it depends on the tenant, on what the tenant is willing to pay. So the last kind of owning a single family house for your first investment property, higher price per unit. So the cost per unit is generally higher than a duplex, making it harder to start with a single family if you're on a budget. So what does that mean? So if you're buying a single family unit instead of a duplex to start off with in your investment portfolio, well, you're probably gonna spend more money to buy a single family house as opposed to a duplex. Let's compare apples to apples. Let's say you're buying a single family house for $200,000, where you're only getting one rental unit, and then let's say you're gonna buy a duplex for $200,000 too. Well, guess what? You're buying two rental units for the same price, but you can collect twice the amount of rent on a duplex as you can to a single family. Generally, you might get a little less on rent from a duplex just because you're splitting the house in half, but you're getting two rental units as opposed to one with the duplex. So you may be able to grow your portfolio a little bit faster with a duplex than you can with a single family, but some people would rather have the ease of a single family than a duplex. So I don't know what's right for you. If you're interested in getting started in investing, let's have that discussion and we can talk about what is best for you. Now, let's talk about duplexes. The pros of duplexes. So we talked about this earlier. Dual income streams. One building, two rental payments. If one unit is vacant, guess what? You still have rent from the second unit. That's awesome. Now, whether or not the second unit pays for the whole mortgage, it depends on your rent prices. But at least it's still paying for a chunk of your mortgage payment. So you're not paying for the whole mortgage yourself, at least until you get that second unit rented out again. So one unit, two rental streams, instead of just one rental stream like with a single family house. Pro number two, increased cash flow. You're likely to see more monthly income with a duplex, helping you grow that investment faster. So what does that mean? Typically with a duplex, you're getting, like we said, you're getting two rental incomes, one from side A or one from side B of the duplex. So you're typically, you compare apples to apples with a single family, you're usually getting a little bit more in rent with a duplex than you are with a single family over the year. Just because of taxes, maintenance, and everything else, you're usually coming out a little bit ahead with your net sheet at the end of the year with a duplex over a single family. Compare everything all together. Duplexes usually end up making you a little bit more money over the year. So with a duplex, you end up making a little bit more money over the year, and just helps you buy that next duplex if you're looking to become a full-time investor and buy more units or more doors, as they say, and rent it out to more people. Pro number three, you have owner-occupied loan opportunities. So you can live in one side and you can rent out the other side. And guess what? You get cheaper mortgage options that way. If it's owner-occupied, you get a lower interest rate, lower down payments, lower cash to close options that way. If you're willing to live in one side or one part of the duplex and then rent out the other part of the duplex, you get lower interest rates. You get a better mortgage that way. Now, you don't usually have to live in the duplex forever. You only have to live in the duplex for maybe a year or two, and then you can go buy your own house somewhere else and then rent out the whole duplex if that's what you want to do. But initially, to start off, if you're willing to live in half of it and rent out the other half, it's a good way to start off your investing portfolio. Benefit number four of owning a duplex, you get a lot of tax benefits. More units can mean more tax deductions, like repairs, property management, and utilities. Talk to your tax professional, because I'm not a tax professional, but you can write off almost all of the costs associated with a rental property, and especially the duplex. If you have to pay for it out of your pocket or out of the proceeds from your rent, you can usually write it off and get a tax credit for it. I don't know the specifics of all this stuff because I don't own any rental properties myself, but I know that you can write off almost all of the costs incurred with owning a rental property. Now let's get into the cons of owning a duplex. You have higher management needs. With more tenants comes more responsibility. With more tenants comes more responsibility. You'll be dealing with more requests and possibly more repairs. So typically the tenants in a duplex, because it feels more like an apartment or like an actual rental place, the tenants may not be as nice to your stuff as they are in a single family unit. They may not take as good of care of it. You may have a rule where you can't hang anything up on the walls with nails, but they may use nails anyway. They may not be as easy on the toilet as you would be in your own house. They may wiggle it back and forth or something like that. Maybe they're putting stuff down the drain that they shouldn't be doing, so you get a lot of calls for a backed up drain that you gotta go fix yourself or call somebody to go fix. Maybe they're running the furnace or AC at times that they should be running it, and it's hard on it, and it just wears out the motor. A lot of things that could go wrong with owning an investment property that you as a landlord, you have to pay to fix. So keep that in mind, whether you have a duplex or a single family as an investment property. You as a landlord, you have to fix that. Con number 2, potentially higher vacancy rates. While you have the dual income potential, you are also more likely to experience vacancy at some point. So at some point, you'll probably have at least one unit vacant. And at some point, you'll probably also have both units vacant. When you have both units vacant, guess what? You still have to make that monthly mortgage payment. You're still responsible for the monthly mortgage. So even if you have no rents coming in, you still have to make that payment, at least until you get one or both of those units rented out again. Now, it could take you a week to get it rented out. It could take you a month. It could take you 2 months. Depends on what you're charging for rent. Depends on the rental demand at the time. Depends on the location of their units. Depends on a lot of factors. But just keep that in mind that you have to pay the mortgage, no matter if it's rented out or not. Con number 4, there's more wear and tear. More tenants usually means more maintenance. Duplexes can require more upkeep than single family homes. So duplexes, especially here in the Kenosha area, are usually older. A lot of them aren't very well maintained, so you're gonna have a lot of maintenance with them. Maybe exterior maintenance, maybe interior maintenance, maybe mechanical maintenance. And some tenants don't do you any favors. They just don't care. They tear things out. They say it's not theirs. They don't own it. All they're doing is just paying rent. They just want a roof over their head. So they just they don't care about anything. They just live there, they pay their rent, and they just tear everything out. They figure it's the landlord's stuff, it's the landlord's responsibility. Keep that in mind that the more tenants you have, the more stuff you're probably gonna have to fix and the more money you need to shell out. But you do have that potential for a higher rental income with more tenants also. So is a duplex right for you? Well, I don't know. I can't answer that for you. That's a question you have to answer for yourself. It's perfect for you if you're looking for a bit more cash flow and you can handle the higher maintenance needs and the more tenants calling you possibly at 2 a.m. saying that my water line is broke or my toilet's plugged up, you need to come fix it right away. Obviously, you probably don't need to come fix it at 2 o'clock in the morning, but you do need to fix it relatively quickly. So what's your goal with your investment portfolio? If you're after simplicity, appreciation, then single family may be your best bet. But if you want cash flow and you can take on the more management, then a duplex is probably your winner. Me personally, I'd probably go with a small single family house. I just feel like they have less maintenance. I value the longer term tenants, the tenants that would take care of my investment property, that wouldn't tear up as much, tenants that I could potentially be friends with and grow to like and care about over time. Tenants that are actually good tenants and that care about the property that they live in and will treat it almost like their house. So I would prefer a single family house over a duplex, even though a duplex would probably make me more money over time. I would prefer a smaller single family home as my first investment property. But that's me personally. That's just how I would start my investment portfolio. Everybody has their own goals, their own wishes, their own things they want to accomplish in life. What do you want to do? Let me know down in the comments. Is a single family or a duplex best for you when you're starting your investment portfolio? Do Do you have any investments right now? Is it a single family? Is it a duplex? What are the pros? What are the cons? Are there any other videos you'd like to see me do on my channel in the upcoming weeks? Let me know. I'd be happy to shoot them. Like I said, shoot them down here in the comments. If you guys have any other questions about investing, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them for you. I hope that you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please make sure that you hit that like button. It really helps me out and helps YouTube to share my content with other viewers that might enjoy this. If you want to be notified of other videos that I drop at least twice a week, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and YouTube will do its thing and notify you every time I drop a new video. I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next video.